Ladies and gentlemen, so here we are again in a brand new year, brand new episode, brand new teachings. And today we're going to bring the new year with a storm. And that's going to be the storm of Ardra Nakshatra. And who else to discuss except the genius of his Nakshatra, Dr. Arjun Pai, who, like I said, he created a pie map, okay, which is going to be coming soon. So let's discuss Nakshatra today, Ardra.
Hey, hi Kapil.
Hi.
Thank you very much for coining a name for this map that we were discussing.
Pie map, baby, that's it.
Okay.
That's what we call it.
That's very kind of you. But Kapil, I don't know. I've always said this, and I've said this before as well. Whenever I want to come and discuss something with you. It always awakens a lot of thoughts, and it gives me something new always. I don't know why it happens. Whenever I come on KRS, I have to bring in something new. And it is not that I want to bring in something new. It is just that maybe, something new wants to come out. And let me tell you, I've been pondering on something for many years now. And it was just about 2 hours ago, I just got up. And there was something which came like a spark. And then I started thinking about you. And then I started looking at, I just was flipping through my phone. And then I saw your video, which you uploaded a couple of hours ago.
Oh, damn.
And then I listened to it. And then I started working on my whatever came to my mind. And then one led to another. In 10 minutes, I knew that I had discovered something very, very, very fascinating.
Okay.
Now, I want to start with the story. And the story is about the mother of Gautam Buddha. Okay. Now, this story has been lingering in my mind for a very, very long time. But I knew there was something there, but I didn't know. I couldn't decode for many, many years. But today, finally, I think I've hit the jackpot. Now, whether this is the right thing or no, I do not know. Because all I know that is when something resonates with me, I don't care what other people want to say. There will be critics, but you know that you have found it. You know you have got it. And that is more satisfying for me than knowing whether people will approve this or won't approve this. Now, this story, this lovely story, and I'll come to Ardra just after this, and I will tell you why this year would be very, very special for many of us. Now, this is a mysterious story. It's a strange dream that Queen Maya Devi, the mother of Gautam Buddha, had. And it was such a stunning dream that it is believed that she couldn't conceive for 20 years of her life after her marriage with her husband Shuddhodana, King Shuddhodana of his capital was Kapiel Raaj, which falls today in Nepal.
Wait. Kapiel Raaj.
Yeah, Kapiel Raaj. Okay, he belonged to a dynasty called Shankar dynasty. Okay, and it was in Lumbini Vana. Lumbini Vana is like a garden. It was a garden where, it is believed that he was conceived. That is later on, but this is the dream which came to her. There was a dream, and she couldn't conceive for 20 years. And it was a dream which came to her, and which is written in Bodhisattva and in many texts of Buddhism. She felt as though there were 4 angels who were carrying her to a lake in the white peaks of Himalayas. She dreamt about these 4 angels or devatas bathing her and clothing her with divine flowers and perfumes. Next, what she sees is a huge white elephant with white lotus in its trunk, which came near the queen, and it walked and it went around her thrice. And then it got into her womb after touching her right side of the body. Now, this is what I'm narrating is exactly from what is described in, how Gautam Buddha was born. And this is from the Buddhist text. Now, for many of us, this would just be a story. Now, it further goes on. What it goes on is, it says, this elephant was a great symbol of greatness in India or in Nepal and in those times.
Mm-hmm.
And this dream of hers, she goes and tells her husband Shuddhodana. And Shuddhodana, he summoned, it is believed that 64 Brahmanas or priests were summoned to come to Kapilavastu to interpret the dream of the queen. 64 Brahmanas were invited to interpret the dream.
Okay.
The 64 Brahmanas interpreted it means it was the birth of a son. And they interpreted the dream as saying, if the son doesn't leave the household, he will become the world conqueror. But if he left the household, then he would become a sage. He would become Buddha, the enlightened. This is what the 64 priests who sat down to understand and interpret the dream of the queen.
Okay.
Now, many of us would stop at this, of knowing that this was a story. But I knew that something was there in the story for us to understand. And this has the greatest secret of Jyotish, the greatest secret ever told. And then I started researching. Just about an hour ago, I started researching. I frantically went and looked up. I was looking at the keywords, what came up: the dream,
Mm-hmm.
the angels, the Himalayas, the elephant, the lotus,
Mm-hmm.
and of course the mythological story where we all know that it was believed that Vishnu said, I will take birth through Aditi. Aditi is the mother goddess. She rules over Punarvasu. And it was something he said, I would take birth, an avatar from you. Okay. And that was the avatar from Maya Devi, was Buddha. It is very, very similar to what you see with the story of Jesus Christ being born from a Virgin Mary.
Yeah. But was Buddha's mother a virgin?
Because she didn't conceive for 20 years, and it is believed that just the same, what everybody believes in Christianity, it's something similar, because it was the elephant, white elephant, getting into her womb.
And in Jesus, it was a white light that came inside her womb of Mother Mary. So,
right? So, which is very fascinating. Now, we have to start connecting the dots, and this will give us the greatest secret in the new year.
mm-hmm.
And I will tell you why this year is going to be absolutely brilliant year for many things. Now, I don't know where to start because there's so much that I can tell you, and I'll tell you the secret is, when I started connecting dots, it was Himalayas, it was elephant, it was womb, it was the right side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And somehow when I said Himalayas, I said, is there a connection with Ardra? Because it's Rudra, it is Shiva, and he resides in the Himalayas. In Kailash.
Shiva is to do with Kailash Parvat? Is that in the Himalayas?
Exactly. Okay. Yes, it's in the Himalayas.
Yeah.
And Kailash Parvat is where he resides with his family. And we're going to talk about Ardra today. Then the next thought which came is womb. And my mind always thinks only from nakshatras.
Yeah.
Day in, day out, it's only nakshatras which keep playing.
Yeah.
Then I said, what is the nakshatra which is connected to the womb? It was Bharani nakshatra. Mother's womb.
Womb. Okay. Womb. Yes. Bharani.
The womb. Bharani. Then I said, hold on. What is the animal symbol connected with Bharani? It's the elephant. Wow. I think, is there something? This was the first clue that I got. Then I said, it should be the mother, isn't it? So who's mother? So I said, let me go and check which nakshatra is connected to Vishnu. Because it was Vishnu's mother, the womb of Vishnu's mother. So immediately it took me to Shravana Nakshatra. Because Shravana Nakshatra is connected with Vishnu. And Shravana Nakshatra falls in Capricorn.
Mm-hmm.
And exactly the fourth house from Capricorn is Aries, where you have Bharani Nakshatra.
Okay.
So it was as though it was the mother of Vishnu, which is Bharani.
Okay.
Right?
Well, I see what you're doing. Okay, so Vishnu's nakshatra is in Capricorn. So
it's Shravana. It's Shravana.
Mother at that exact degree would fall into Bharani nakshatra.
Bharani Nakshatra.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the story says, she died. Maya Devi died shortly after giving birth and telling her dream to Shuddhodana. She died. Again, then I started believing that, okay, it is Bharani Nakshatra, which is Yama, the god of death. She gave birth to Siddhartha, and then she died. So there was this element of birth and death coming in.
Right.
Then I knew that if I take Ardra Nakshatra, because it was the Himalayas, and if I make Ardra, which is posited in Gemini, so Bharani Nakshatra becomes the 11th house, because it is Aries. It falls in Aries. From Ardra, Gemini.
Okay, yes. Yeah.
11th house.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the desire of Shiva. It was as though...
Okay. So Bharani would be the desire of Shiva because Ardra is Shiva. Oh, I see what you're... Okay.
Right? Then I said, it's the 11th house of Shiva and his desire.
Yes.
I immediately went to the classics. I went to the classics and I found a treasure trove. I looked up in one of the classics called as Shambhu Hora Prakasha. Shambhu Hora Prakasha. Shambhu means Shiva. Hora means the timing, which was given by Shambhu. Shambhu Hora Prakasha says that the 11th house is connected to elephants. The 11th house is connected to the right trunk, or the two shanks of the left hand and the right side of the body. It is also, there are many things which says, Shambhura Prakasha also says it is connected to horses, elephants. Then I started believing, okay, man, Ashwini is horses, Bharani is elephants.
Yeah.
Right? Then it says, Shambhura Prakasha also says, the 11th house is also connected to gold, auspicious, learning, wealth.
Yeah, wealth. Okay, yeah. Liquid wealth, yeah.
Liquid wealth.
Yeah.
Important desires, 11th house.
Okay.
So it was something related to Shambhura Prakasha. Then I said, let me go and see some other classics. I went to Jataka Varanam. Jataka Varanam is another great classic.
Yeah.
Again, that is the same theme which is playing out. It says 11th house connected to gain of things such as elephants, horses, gold, gems, palanquin.
Which in nowadays could translate into cars and
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you see those days, it was elephants and the horses. Again, horses are connected with Ashwini Nakshatra,
Mm-hmm.
and elephant is connected to Bharani Nakshatra.
Yeah.
So that was giving me a greater clue of saying that this means Buddha was a desire of Shiva and the incarnation of Vishnu.
Wow, desire of Shiva. Okay. That is
So,
crazy.
okay, now everybody would stop at that. Do you see what I'm trying to get at? Now that's when I understood that there was a greater secret now. Now coming to the astrological marvel.
Okay.
The astrological understanding from the story is, you can see that the qualities that if he lived in the palace without going out, he would rule the world, which is like the Vishnu's quality. If he could maintain, if we do not allow him to mingle, then the Vishnu qualities will be enhanced. If you let him go out and if he sees miseries, then he becomes Shiva.
Wow. Oh man. That is okay.
Which means he is going to give up everything and then he will go and become like
Shiva's transformation.
Transformation.
So okay.
Now we have got the right word, which is transformation. Now, what is transformation? Which house is connected to transformation?
8th house.
Brilliant. The next clue from the story I got was 64 Brahmanas, priests, were invited to interpret the dream. Then I knew this was the greatest treasure trove that we have found. It was a reference to the 64th Navamsha.
I was just thinking that subconsciously. I'm like, 64th Navamsha? What? Okay. Or I was thinking of the 6th house and 4th house. So, wow.
No, it was 8th house and 64th Navamsha, which means King Suddhodana was looking at the 64th Navamsha of the chart of the sun that was born to find out what is the soul's purpose of the soul. What was the dream?
Okay, so 64th Navamsha is to do with kind of like something related to Atmakarka.
64th Navamsha is going to give you the Nakshatra. I didn't know anything about 64th Navamsha. I only heard about it, right?
From C.S. Patel's book, I also heard about his Navamsha book that I have. Navamsha and Nadi Astrology. That's what I heard about in 64th Navamsha.
I never knew about 64. I have heard of 64th Navamsha.
Yeah.
But the last half an hour, I went and studied it deeper. I studied it. And then I don't want to go further into it because that could be a separate lesson on 64th Navamsha. Because it is, there are various classics speak about differently. Jataka Parijat says you have to take the 64th Navamsha from the moon. Brahat Parashara Hora Shastra says you have to look at the 64th Navamsha from both the moon and the ascendant.
Yeah, 4th from the moon or the ascendant, yeah.
Okay, that's the Navamsha. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, that's a different concept. I didn't know what was this, but I knew, and for a fact today, Kapiel, I want to say, I have not studied this, I've not researched it, but I feel why is this very, very important is, if you look at your past life, your past life is seen from, for example, when your karmas of your past life are completed.
Yeah.
Okay, that's when you exit and then you wait for the next birth to happen. So the house of karma of your, if the house of karma, if 9th house is your karma, if 9th house is your past life, right? Then if you go to the 8th from 9th, so 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6th house of any chart becomes the karma of this life from the past life.
Wait. You said 8th from the ninth, but 8th from the ninth is the 4th house, not the 6th house.
No, not 8 from the ninth. I said, 10th from the ninth.
Oh, 10th from the ninth. Okay. Karma of the ninth house of past life.
Past life.
The 6th house, which is the prarabdha karma.
Yeah, prarabdha karma of this life.
Yeah.
Right. So a 6th house also shows pending karma, but somehow the 64th Navamsha, which nakshatra, which pada does the 64th Navamsha falls in? That should give you great clues besides the 6th house to understand what is the purpose of the soul which is born.
So not even Atma Karka. You have to go all the way down to like 64th Navamsha.
I'm saying, this is only another technique to verify. I'm saying Atma Karaka can give you clues. I'm just saying this is a different method to find out. I need to research this.
Yeah.
This is leading me to this. The story is, this revelation is leading me to this thing about Ardra Nakshatra, about Himalayas, Kailash, where Shiva resides. And that is why I want to come to Ardra Nakshatra. Okay, with the lesson on Ardra. But did you get it, what I'm trying to say? So this is a great clue that I want to give today to people. And there is a great significance why I'm giving this clue.
Mm-hmm.
This clue for the year 2017 is when the sunrise happened here in India, or maybe other parts of the world as well. The moon was transiting in Shravana Nakshatra this year.
While the new year came in.
Yes, when the new year happened, when the 12 o'clock, when the midnight.
Yeah.
So, when the sunrise happened, the next day on the 1st of January, when the sunrise happened, it was Shravana Nakshatra. Moon was in Shravana Nakshatra.
Okay.
And sun, as always, is sitting on the 1st of January. It is always sitting in Purva Shada Nakshatra, and it is directly aspecting Ardra Nakshatra in the opposite. 7th aspect is going to Ardra Nakshatra.
All right. Okay.
So sun is a luminary. It is shining very bright on Ardra on the 1st of January every year.
Okay.
And this is trying to give you more clues is when I went into nakshatras and I started studying the tattvas of nakshatras.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a primary tattva, there is a sukshma tattva, there is a very finer level of tattva. Every nakshatra has a tattva which is associated with it. Tattva is the deeper element.
Tattva, you mean like tamasic or rajasic or?
No, it's the Panchamahabhutas. Like, is it? It is airy. Is it wind? Is it earth? Is it
air, fire? Okay.
Fire. So you can find this. There's a beautiful chart which Sanjay Rath has given in his book called Brahat Chart. Brahat Nakshatra. A beautiful chart he has given it, and
right?
Yeah, Brahat Nakshatra. He's given it very beautifully. The chart which talks about the classification of nakshatras is Bhuloka, Bhuarloka, and Swaraloka, and then he has given a classification of tattvas based for each nakshatra. For example, Ashwini is Agni tattva, right?
Yeah.
Maga is Jala tattva.
Maga is Jala. I thought Maga would also be Agni because it's in the fire and Ketu is a very hot planet. Okay, so Maga is Jal tattva. Okay.
Why is Maga Jala tattva? Jala is past. I said water is past.
Yeah.
Pitris are the past which is bringing you. So it is the highest Jala element. If you see at the primary level of Maga, it is Jala. The secondary level of Maga is also Jala. It's Jala, which means water element, which is Pitris. It's a past which is coming.
Okay.
So very, very strongly associated with Jala.
Yeah.
So you can see that table. It's self-explanatory. But beautifully that I found that only 2 nakshatras, it says that they are not connected to any of these panchatattvas, which is these 5 elements: earth, water, air, ether, space. None of these, they are connected to the mind. They're called as Manas Nakshatras. Only 2 nakshatras.
Okay.
So one is Ardra, second one is Shravana.
Oh, I see.
All the others are connected to some element. Only Ardra and Shravana are connected to Manas, its mind. So, and if you see in India, if you go to down south, in Tamil and in Malayalam, if you look, these are 2 South Indian languages, which is very prominent. They call Ardra Nakshatra as Tiruvadirai and Shravana Nakshatra as Tiruvonam. These are the only 2 nakshatras where there is a prefix added as Tiru.
Tiru, okay.
Tiru means holy. Tiru means chief. So Tiru is always a prefix used when something godly is referred to.
Okay, because I remember a mantra called Tirunelakantam.
Tirunelakantam is the mantra for your light. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Tiru means the holy light, which is the violet light which comes and removes your karma from your throat chakra. Because if you see, Shiva kept the halahal, the poison in the throat.
The throat, yeah.
What is the poison? The poison is the accumulated karmas of multiple lifetimes, which is being reserved here. We call it the Adam's apple.
Yeah.
Whenever we're talking about Ardra Nakshatra and people who have prominent Ardra, they would have a very prominent Adam's apple.
Wow.
If you can meditate on a blue sort of an indigo sort of light which comes here and cleanses you, it is cleansing some of your karmas. This chakra is for cleansing your karmas. And that is why you see the serpent is, in Shiva's neck, you see the serpent, serpent is the poison, which is the accumulated karmas sitting there.
I see.
And Tiru Adirai. I'm getting into the lesson of Ardra, but these are very, very important. Tiru Adirai. Ardirai was a reference to the Orion.
Okay.
The Orion belt. And that is why you see that the pharaohs were mummified and the chamber where they were mummified, there was a small beam which was open to the sky. And that beam was going straight to Betelgeuse. Okay, Betelgeuse is Ardra Nakshatra. So you see the 3 pyramids of Giza, they are aligned with the belt of Orion, which is belt means, if you see Orion, it is said the hunter, the constellation of the hunter. And the belt of Orion, there are 3 stars, Orion. And that is exactly how they are aligned with the Giza, the pyramids of Giza. And the chamber where they are mummified, they were connected directly to, some of them say it's Sirius, but if you go ahead, Sirius takes you to Betelgeuse.
Okay.
Betelgeuse is Ardra. And this I knew when Parash came and discussed about it in my, interview. This was beautiful. He says, Mula is somewhere, it was Mula is a downward facing nakshatra.
Yeah.
Mula can also signify the southern part of India, which is at the lower plane. And Ardra is signifying upward facing nakshatra, which was more a reference to Kailash at the northern part of India. So it is as though the soul has to elevate and it exits through Ardra, which means once they exit through Ardra, the soul, they never come back. It's liberation. That is what the pharaohs knew about it. And that's why they were aligning their bodies. And I was saying it is connected to life and rebirth. which is your Bharani Nakshatra, which is your 11th house. 11th house is ornaments, gold. What did they used to mummify their bodies
Yeah,
with?
ornaments, gold, and all the jewelry. Yeah. Yeah.
So somewhere you see a very strong connection again and again between Bharani, which is Yama of death, okay, with womb, with elephant, you see, and again you see the pharaohs knew about this secret of no return, the path of no return. If you are aligned with Ardra, it is one of the path of no return.
But then
The
how come Aradhra is so associated with destruction and teardrop and so much of heavy karma?
I'll come.
How is
Definitely
that then connected with the side of the liberation?
see if you look at Ardra. Ardra is the people who are born in Ardra are supposed to not have been born in human form. They were forced to be born in human form. It is as though to say they were supposed to be born as animals, but they were given a human body chassis was given to them. And let me explain to this, because I don't want to say that they were to be born as animals doesn't mean that they are lower beings.
Yeah.
It means if you see the Ardra natives feel more comfortable in rural environment, semi-urban environment. They are a complete misfit for an urban environment. Because when I say a misfit, what I mean to say is not that it is the convention, they are unconventional. They do things which is out of the way. If you go astronomically also, the seers used to call it an outcast. Why they used to call it an outcast? Because if you see Betelgeuse, which is Ardra,
Yeah.
star Betelgeuse, it is the northernmost star in the zodiac. It is as though all the stars in the zodiac belt fall in a band. This is kind of a little bit outside this band.
Okay.
So the ancients saw this as this is some star which is a little bit out of the box. It is unconventional, and that is what you see the elements with Ardra, because they want to be connected to nature. They want to live in the wild. They want to connect with anything which cannot be, which has to be in connection with the laws of nature. They cannot adopt to the man-made laws. Man-made laws is you have to get married, you have to get children, you have to put the food on the table. No, this is not what Shiva wanted. Shiva he'd never wanted to get married to Parvati. It was Parvati's desire. I said Parvati is connected to Mragashira Nakshatra, which is, if you see, Mragashira and Ardra are sitting almost next to each other. It's as though Shiva and Parvati.
Also, Mrigashira is Parvati.
Yes, it's the birth star of Parvati, is Mragashira.
And then, okay. It's so funny, like just observing the stars and seeing that you can just logically say, looking at a telescope that, oh, look at this constellation, that star is so far away from these rest of the group.
Yes.
Maybe we can say that this star is the outcast of this constellation. And look at these two stars so close. So maybe part of this nakshatra is also about merging and twins or so. I see how this is
exactly how the ancients saw these stars. And this is exactly how as above, so below.
Yeah.
No difference. Because if you look at the star, and I had got one of my best friends has been a participant on my courses, is fantastic, is an astronomer, Dr. Aditya Togi. He comes and he baffles me all the time whenever he comes and speaks about astronomy and the connection with nakshatras. He says it is exactly how the ancients have described this nakshatra, is how the physical characteristics of Betelgeuse is. It is violent, there are thunderstorms, it is destructive, it is turbulent. That is exactly how these people feel. The turbulence is there inside. but they are revolutionaries. They're very innovative because they are taboo setters.
Yeah.
They do anything which is taboo for a culture, which is against the social norms, is what appeals to them. It's absolutely fascinating that when I went and researched, I did a research on exotic animals and people who love to keep exotic animals as pets. Fantastic results I got. And the results I got was very stunning because everything was connected to two nakshatras when I saw that these were keeping exotic. Like, I'll tell you, I've made a note of uh, these exotic animals and these people who love to keep these exotic animals. You'd be baffled when I tell you this research of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ardra Nakshatra, as I said, they are fascinated with sports and hobbies which can be drawn to be, or which can be understood to be very fierce and dangerous. Because they are the untamed force. They are wild. As I said, they were not supposed to be born as humans. They were wanting to be born in the wild, free, not to be constrained by any laws, but accept the natural laws of nature. You cannot contain them. If you contain them, they become fierce like Rudra. They revolt. They resist. They go against the government. They go against the people. You don't control an Ardra. You understand the Ardra because they have great potential. I'm telling you, it is not a negative trait. It is some of the best people I've seen who can bring in great innovations, revolutionary changes, transformations, is the Ardra people. It's one of the most spiritual nakshatras I've seen for evolution. But the way the Ardra people evolve is not going to be easy because they are going through a lot of storms internally.
Yeah.
Just like what is happening there. Now, because there is an untamed force of the universe within them, as I said, they want to be in the wild, you would find them, their hobbies and their interests are somewhere very different. Like I have seen that they would become tornado chasers. Have you seen people, there was a movie, people went chasing hurricanes and tornadoes.
Yeah.
It is a Ardra thing because Ardra is connected to tornadoes and storms, thunderstorms. This is it's a dangerous thing, but they love it.
That is so funny because I only had like maybe two, or I would say three, maybe I would say two for sure, people who are meteorologists
as well.
They had their moon in a Ardra Nakshatra. And I think I was wrong. I was telling them, oh yeah, you might, because Mars was looking at it, Rahu. So I'm like, this must be in IT. Because pretty much with Ardra, I've seen so many IT professionals and software professionals that I'm like, okay, this person has to go into IT. He was from South India, Chennai. I'm like, it has to be this. And no, it turned out to be, he was trying to study meteorology, weather. Like, oh my God, talk about like hitting a lottery with like somebody with this, because that combination of Ardra, Mars, and Rahu or Mercury, I have seen the softwares and IT. But this person that I remember clearly was studying the weather and meteorology. I'm like, oh my God. Now I see, because Ardra storms and weather. And I'm like, oh man. So yeah, I get that.
Okay. And then what I've seen with them is they could also be great healers. Unless you always have believed that it was Ashwini and Shatabisha, but some of the greatest healers I've seen can come from Ardra Nakshatra. I'll tell you why also. Because in mythology, it is believed that Rudra always carries a pouch of herbs with him all the time. And in Sanskrit, he's called as a Vaidyanath. Vaidyanath means the healer. And his herbs are not, they are exotic. They are wild, which grows wild, like berries.
Okay, wild berries, yeah.
Wild berries and, wild things which are never found on the common land. It grows deep inside the forest, in the wilderness, but he brings in those exotic, herbs, and it could also be poison. Like you know about, people say, what do you call those? Magic mushrooms. This is Ardra. And that's why Ardra is also connected with people who want to intoxicate or hallucinate or drug abuse, substance abuse. So I have seen over and over again people who are interested in, or people who handle, Ardra would be people who would be handling toxic elements like chemicals, poisonous chemicals, or druggists. People who are associated with also Ayurveda sometimes, because it's the herbs, but exotic herbs. They would be interested, I've seen, they would be interested in meteorology, witchcraft, sorcery, alchemy, shamanism. And the best kept secret is exotic animals, because this nakshatra is said, the desire of this nakshatra was to be the lord of the animals. Ardra many times have this deep desire to be associated with something which is exotic, which you cannot find. So who are these people? Now, let me tell you, the first thing which came to my mind was Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson had a pet tiger.
Yeah.
So this is dangerous. But how many of people would love to keep a tiger? There might be people who would desire to keep a tiger, but they would never be able to afford it. But Mike Tyson kept it. Mike Tyson has the Sun and Jupiter in Ardra.
Wow.
Right. So I have seen this over and over again. This is my research. People can go and test. Two aspects I've seen. Sixth house, sixth lord. 11th house, 11th lord. If connected with Ardra, any planet sitting, for example, in the 6th house in Ardra, it is pets, and it is not normal pets. Sometimes it could be exotic. If it is Ardra.
Now I get why Jatak Parijatak was saying about 11th house being elephants. You know why?
Exactly. Because larger animals.
Bhavat Bhavam of the 6th house.
6th house, exactly. So, see, 6th house, you always see smaller animals. 11th house, you always see big animals like tigers, horses. You cannot keep them inside your house.
No.
Elephants, can you keep them inside your house?
No.
Yes, dogs, you can keep them inside your house.
Yep.
Cats, you can keep them inside your house.
Wow.
But horses, elephants, tigers, you cannot keep them inside. I mean, you might have to cage them and keep them outside the house.
So I guess that if 4th house is cars, 7th house must be like trucks and ships and
absolutely
yachts.
Yes, because it's a bigger version. Bhavat Bhava means you are doubling up that effect. So if you get it now.
So that means that 9th house is your father, 5th house is children. Children are more bigger than your father because they might be the pitris of your father.
That's what it is. That's why you are the connecting point. Your lagna is the connecting point between your father and your children. They are the higher version of your father. That's why they say the next generation is always smarter than the previous generation. They are always evolved souls. They are nothing but you, Kapiel. First house is you. You are connecting between your father, your 9th house, and your 5th house. You are the connecting point.
Yeah.
That is why Nadi only talks about 159, the trine. The trine is the most important for anything you want to know about Nadi. There is no Nadi, there is no trine, which means Nadi says all these 3 houses are one house. Whatever planets fall in these 3 houses, the trine, or any houses. I'm not saying only 159 in your chart. Any house and the trine from there are like as though they are one house.
Wow. Okay.
So this 11th house aspect, 6th house aspect, and Ardra is going to give you fabulous. Now I'll start talking to you about these fascinating people. Justin Bieber. Okay. Yeah. He has a pet. They call it, I think the pronunciation I do not know. They call it the capuchin. Yeah, capuchin monkey, they call it.
Yeah.
Capuchin.
Some sort of a monkey, yes,
So
yeah.
capuchin monkey, and the name is Mali. I was astonished to see he has his ascendant in Ardra. Now, I'm going to add another layer to it. I've seen this. 2 nakshatras of Rahu gives you affinity with animals and pets which are exotic, or pets in general. One is Rahu nakshatra, which is Ardra. Next one is Shatabisha. Shatabisha, over and over again, I see Shatabisha means, and especially if you have key planets like Ketu comes, then it is,
It's so
dogs.
funny you
Rahu
say
comes.
that. I'm telling you, like, I have no Ratra Nakshatra or anything, but anytime my wife wants to go out on a date, like especially in California, and I was so tired of eating at every single normal restaurant. Okay, even though I've stopped eating beef and everything, anything related to beef or cow, stopped eating. But before, like maybe 2 years ago, I used to be like, you know what? I gotta find a restaurant which has exotic meat, like wild boar, or it has ostrich, elk. I even had rattlesnake, fried rattles. Something
Wow.
about exotic animals, like just gets me. But instead of like petting them, I want to eat them. I'll admit it. I mean, for me, I was so bored with chicken and goat or beef burgers and all that. I'm just like, I'm done. I want something exotic. So I'm always like watching Food Network, where Andrew Zamazian on Food Network, he eats all sorts of crazy stuff. And I'm like, wow, what if I could eat alligator meat? Like, I always wanted to try alligator. I wanted to try, what do you call, I forgot the name, frogs. I loved frog meat when I had it in New York. So I'm always like, yeah, I'm attracted to that.
But just find out, this person you said who loves, does he have any connection with Shatabesha or Ardra? Because
Ooh.
this is Rahu rule nakshatras. You just said, who likes to cook a lot of and try these exotic,
No, it's
the
me.
cooking. Oh, it's you. No. I'm talking about, you said there was a chef who comes and,
Oh, yes, Andrew Zamazian.
yeah, Andrew Zamazian. Just go and check his chart if it is available. Just see if there is anything which is related to Ardra or because you see the thing is we do not
Life
know the exact
birth
timing.
1961. Let's see.
Even when I'm talking about Justin Bieber, I say it's ascendant, but I don't know whether it's the right time. But he definitely has 2 planets in Shatabisha Nakshatra, which is he has his Saturn and his Moon in Shatabisha. Sorry, he has his Sun and his Saturn in Shatabisha.
Mercury and Sun in Aratra.
There you go. That's what I was saying. Exotic is all about Rahu rule nakshatras. With the
Oh,
exception I've seen with Swati. Swati is a little bit different from the other 2 Rahu rule nakshatras. Rahu is the element which gives you to try out different
yeah,
things.
it's foreign thing.
It's foreign things, exotic things,
Exotic foreign
something
thing.
out of exotic food, exotic, So it is over and over again. You see this Rahu, especially these 2 nakshatras. Now, let me continue with my research on these exotic animals. Justin Bieber, Mali, is the capuchin monkey. He has his ascendant in Ardra. Okay, that is debatable because we do not know the exact timing. That's fine. But he has his sun and Saturn in Shatabesha, and his moon is in Swati. Okay, Swati, right? All Rahu rule nakshatras. That is why you see he's such a huge hit on all Rahu rule. People become very, very great hits on television, media, everything which is externalization. On the stage, it's Rahu with the people, in front of the people,
Yeah.
and that is why you see it's kind of, Rahu becomes exalted in Gemini. Ketu becomes debilitated, but Rahu becomes exalted. So, potentially, and yes, I think it's around 20 degrees, it is believed. So 20 degrees of is pretty much falling in Ardra Nakshatra. Rahu and 20 degrees of Gemini is where it gets exalted.
Some
That is
people
Ardra
I've
Nakshatra.
heard says it's exalted in Virgo.
And
Some
many people, there are
Taurus.
many variations here.
Sometimes I'm just like so confused with where the hell is Rahu exalted, man? Because even like in Bharat Prasha Horse talks more about Taurus.
Taurus.
Scorpio for Ketu. So
It is very, those are so
I think it's
sun.
just like more of like for Rahu, Mercury related signs become very important. For
Yeah.
Ketu, Mars related.
Jupiter. And Jupiter also for Ketu.
Yeah.
Like prices, because Prash Trivedi, I remember he says, prices becomes very important
Yeah.
for Ketu. So if you see Jupiter rule nakshatras is more connected with, they say it's connected. I mean, there are various versions.
Yeah.
The authors will give you that. But the truth is, it is Rahu is foreign, Rahu is different, out of the box, unconventional, going against the grain, going against social norms.
Yeah.
That is why in my research, when I was teaching, I said, somebody in my lessons, I do my classes with a select group of people. Why? Because they're already very advanced. So somebody was talking about food habits, and somebody was talking about having the Mars in Ardra. They said my spouse has, my husband has Mars in Ardra. I said, if you do not mind me asking,
Yeah.
I asked her, does he have tattoos on his shoulder? Okay. She said, no, he doesn't have. Maybe because we are maybe in our 50s, and he was a hippie.
Yeah.
They say we were hippies both during the 70s, and they said that we were more into pot and all of that, which says it is Ardra,
Yeah.
pot, hippie culture.
Yeah.
And into music and all of that. But no, he says if it was maybe later on, we might have had tattoos, but those times tattoos was not the in thing. So we didn't have tattoos.
Yeah.
But I said, okay, it might be wrong. I know that, okay, the hippie culture can also give you, pot, marijuana, all of this could also be connected to Rudra, because Rudra is, if you see, the sadhus and, people would have the pot and the smoke.
Yeah.
So I know that connection is there. But then I said it is Mars. So how I was trying to connect it is I said Mars.
Soldier, because Mars is the karka of the third house.
No, why did I? Yeah, let me tell you why I said that is Mars is connected to needles, sharp objects.
Yeah.
Is Mars. Okay. And Ardra natives is they find a lot of pleasure in taking pain. Self-inflicted pain is what gives them a great interest, great desire. And Mars is the sharp object. It is the needle is the Mars. Okay. So I was thinking, okay, maybe this is wrong. And then she said, hold on, Dr. Pai. But do you know what he does today? He is an acupuncturist.
Oh.
And there it was. Then the penny fell. I knew that he didn't have tattoos on his shoulder. And she told me he didn't have tattoos. But I know people who have tattoos on their arms, and not normal small tattoos. It's huge ornamentation of tattoos on their arms. Why I said arms is Ardra, the other name for Ardra, the ancient appellation of Ardra is called as Bahu. Bahu means the arm. Why?
Wow.
Because Betelgeuse falls in the shoulder of the hunter in the Orion. So it was called as Bahu. Bahu means the shoulder. So it is the arm. So that's why I said Mars and Ardra loves self-inflicting pain on them. So for them, having tattoos and getting pain out of that is a pleasure for them. So I have seen those people who have Mars in Ardra and have had huge tattoos. That is there. But this was the other side. Flip side was he was not having tattoos, but he was an acupuncturist. Jyotish can never go wrong. You would find somewhere the connection coming in. It is fascinating as hell.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's so true.
Right? Now, let's go on to the exotic. Okay. I said, what is her name? Kirsten Stewart? Is that how you pronounce her name? Kirsten Stewart. She is an actress, I think. Kirsten Stewart.
Oh, Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She seems to have a pet wolf dog. It's a hybrid between a wolf and a dog.
Wow.
Okay, it's a huge thing if you see. And then I looked up a chart. She said it was showing Jupiter in Ardra. And her sixth lord Venus is in Shatabisha.
Okay.
So sixth lord, I said, small animals, domestic, which you can keep at home, inside your home. But it was the connection with Jupiter and Ardra saying it was a hybrid. It was a cross between a wolf and a dog. It is a huge, it looks like a wolf, but it's a huge dog.
Okay.
Now, other people who are very prominently ruled by Rahu ruled nakshatras with prominent planets there with exotic animals is Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson
I was
has
thinking of that. Yeah, because Michael Jackson had a whole house full of
zoo. It was a zoo.
giraffes and zebras and whatnot. Yeah.
Zebras and pythons.
Yeah.
Right? Pythons, chimpanzees, all of that exotic. He has his moon in Shatabisha.
Oh.
Nothing to do with Ardra, but I told you 2 Rahu ruled nakshatras will give you this exotic interest. Elvis Presley, he had a baby kangaroo. He has again his moon in Shatabisha. Paris Hilton, she has a pet kinkajo. It's called a kinkajo, the animal. It's like a small dog.
Yeah. I saw that with the big eyes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, she carries it on the shoulder, and that's it's a great fashion thing for women.
Yeah.
Kinkajo. So she has her Mars, which is her 6th lord again in Shatabesha. George Clooney, he has his ascendant in Shatabesha, and he has a pot-belly pig. He calls it Max. That's his pet, pot-belly pig.
Wow.
So this is something that I've seen over and over again, couple. They have many bizarre mannerisms and choices, usually termed as a misfit due to their liking for, they have anything what you say is a taboo is what they want to revel in. It's a mindset. It's a preferences that they have which is out of social norm. What people do not do.
And this is why you also see actually a lot of criminals in Ardra.
Yes. Why they become criminals? Why they become criminals? Do you know why?
Why?
You never put an Ardra native in urban environment. In an urban setting, he gets the desire. He sees all these people around, and they do not follow the nature's law. An Ardra in a rural setup wouldn't have been a serial killer. You leave him in the wild, leave him on his own. These are certain, troubled individuals because of the circumstances which have made them serial. And they are the most hard to understand and to be caught. They're so difficult. And that is why one of the symbols of Ardra Nakshatra is the human head. The human head is a symbol of Ardra. Human head is the symbol of Ardra, showing that it is sitting in Gemini. It's duality. It's very difficult to catch these serial killers who have these instincts in Ardra, because on a normal day in the morning, they're so normal people, you would never believe they would go on a killing spree. In the night. When it's night, they're completely different. They might go and murder 2 people and come back and wash themselves, have a shower, and then feel so good about it. And next morning, you would see no thing of that, because it's a dual personality. It's Gemini. It's falling in Gemini. Dual mind. Dual personalities.
Wow.
Very difficult for such people to be, understood. They are serial killers. That's why you find. That doesn't mean, I'm not trying to say that, everybody who has Ardra is a serial killer. It's foolishness to say that. Or people who have instincts like that. It's only thing is we have to understand what makes them that way.
And then I've also seen quite a few people who either committed suicide or want to commit suicide. I don't know if you...
Yeah, this is again an Ardra thing, because what I'll tell you why is because Ardra people, especially who have moon in Ardra, have a very challenging and a problematic childhood. Why I say that is because they would, when you say moon is in Ardra, that means they are running the Rahu Dasha when they are born.
Yeah.
Rahu brings in huge amounts of ups and downs.
Yeah.
So they might experience, I've seen in early life themes of complications. The family is very complicated. The relationship with their parents is complicated. It's sometimes literal or sometimes it's figurative. They have a sense of abandonment. Why is this? Is you have to know the mythology of Rudra. Rudra was born from the fury or the wrath of the Vishwadevas. It was the fury of the Vishwadevas is because their father, the Vishwadevas are the universal gods. Their father, Brahma or Prajapati, was lustfully, chasing after his own daughter, which is, which we call Saraswati.
Kind of like
Because,
Brahma story.
yeah, sorry?
You know, like how Brahma was wanting to procreate with Rohini.
Yeah, that is the other name of Saraswati is Rohini. She's known by various names. Sandhya, they call her, Usha, there are different names. But he wanted to procreate with his own daughter. Why she's a daughter? Because if you are the creator of the universe, everything which comes from you become your children.
Yeah.
So he created Saraswati because he's the creator. He created the gods because he's the creator. But now he is lustful. He wanted to procreate with his own daughter. And because he wanted to procreate, the other devatas, who are sons of Brahma, felt offended. They said this is a sinful thing to procreate with your own daughter.
Yeah.
This is against social norms. And from their fury, one of the Puranas, there are multiple versions of the same Purana.
Yeah.
They say Rudra was created. So Rudra had, anger running through every, cell in his body, and every blood was boiling. That was how he was born. He was howling when he was born. He was shouting when he was born. He was crying when he was born. So that is why you see the tears is a symbol which is connected.
Another thing to notice is babies who are colic have Ardra. Those babies who constantly cry. For no reason they're crying. They call them colic baby.
Yes.
I've seen some of them where they had the Ardra, where there's this constant need to cry. So my experience has been Ardra with people who wanted to commit suicide, people who are in IT, because there's the electric storm, Ardra storm.
Ardra storm, correct.
And Ardra I've seen people who go into even pilots, but also criminals. So I've seen pretty much like all sides of Ardra. I've done consultation for people who came out of prison and they're looking for a career and a job. So they saw my video and they wanted to get a consultation. And so when I saw that, wow, moon and ascendant were in Ardra Nakshatra, no wonder they're going against the social norm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is something I've seen over and over again, Kapiel, is how these people have bizarre interests, their liking, their hobbies, everything. And I was talking about something, I just forgot. What was I talking about? I was at something and then it just skipped my mind.
Oh, you were talking about the Brahmas.
Yeah. Now the story is
he was crying. Rudra was born crying.
Yeah. He was crying and he was angry. And the Vishwadevas instructed him, see what is happening here. Go, stop this event from happening. Rudra just takes that order from his people who have created him, his Vishwadevas. He just takes his arrow. He's an expert marksman. One shot of the arrow and the head of Brahma is severed. the fifth head of Brahma, the lustful head of Brahma, severed. That falls down, and that becomes the Mragashira, because he was chasing like a deer, in the form of a deer. He was taking various forms and chasing Saraswati, and he was chasing it as like a mraga. So the head which gets chopped off, okay, and it falls, then instantly the people realize their mistake. The Vishwadevas realize, what an embarrassment. What has Rudra done? Unbelievable. He was abandoned. He was like a one act man, or a one show, or one act. That was his act. That's what they just abandoned him, because thinking that how demeaning that thing was, creating. Because when they realized Brahma's interest was for procreation, was a yagna that he wanted to create for expanding the universe. If he doesn't procreate with Saraswati, then the expansion of the universe or creation of new things would have never happened.
Yeah.
So they realized that it was a great mistake. But when they realized that, they just abandoned Rudra. There is another story in another Puran which says, there is a different version of the story saying that he was born from the eyebrows of Brahma. Now, any prominent Ardra, have a look at their eyebrows. Very, very prominent eyebrows, Ardra. Bushy, very prominent.
Mm-hmm.
He was born from the eyebrows or the forehead. And when he was born, he was crying, he was howling, he was screaming. So Brahma goes to him and says, son, why are you crying? This is another version of the birth of Rudra. Why are you crying? Why are you howling? He says, because I do not have a name. I'm crying because I do not have a name. Okay. So people with Ardra, many a times, they might have no name. They might do a lot of things in life, but the name doesn't figure out. Another thing, when he was given a name, Brahma gives him a name. Rudra rejects the name. Okay? He gives him 8 names. And out of that, the 8th name he selects, this is the name I want to be called, and that is Rudra. He was called as, I think Mahadev is one of them. There are so many names that he was called. But he never accepted any of those names. He was very choosy. He chose the 8th name. 8th name is again transformation. 8th name is chose, which is Rudra. So what I found with Ardra natives is, one, they might have multiple names, like nicknames. They would be called by some weird name. The nickname could be very weird. The names could be very weird because they are like Rudra. And the greatest gift of Rudra to us and to humanity, to come out of this depression, come out of this sorrow, come out of this, the greatest gift that Rudra has given is Rudraksh.
Rudraksh, yeah, I was going to mention that, yeah.
Rudraksh means the teardrops of Rudra. That was Rudraksh.
I thought Rudraksh is teardrop of Shiva.
What is Shiva and Rudra? Rudra is same as Shiva. Is the pacified form of Shiva, pacified form of Rudra is Shiva.
I see.
The fierce form, the form is Rudra. Rudra is nothing but Shiva. It's the same thing. Shiva is born, and he cried because he didn't have a name. Okay, and today the tears of Shiva is what we call as Rudra Aksha. Rudra Aksha means the tears of Rudra.
Okay.
Rudraksh can bring in huge amounts of transformation in people for the wellness. People who go through a lot of turbulations, people who go through a lot of stuff, they feel, so there is a sense of abandonment, especially at childhood, that these people go through.
Kind of like Bharani.
Exactly. It is sometimes it is, metaphorical. It is not literal. Sometimes it could be literal, but sometimes it could be metaphorical. They get a sense of being unwanted. They get a sense of being unloved. They get a sense of being stepfatherly or motherly treatment. It's just like how the Vishwadevas treated him. When Vishwadevas found out that he has done a deviant act of, just going with an arrow and shooting it to Brahma and chopping off his neck, that's when they said, oh man, this guy is somebody that we need to keep away from. Ardra natives usually go through at least one incident in their life where people have used them for a particular event and have just ditched them after that.
Because it was the Deva said, hey, do this. And then when he did it, they're like, oh.
Oh no, you are,
Yeah.
They just abandoned him. They just said, and that is what you see with Rudra, and especially what they go through is, I've seen that there is a lot of high-level transformations and cleansing that they go to. It's kind of a hormonal-driven animalistic instincts between them. Ardra, if I say, there is one word if I have to define Ardra, and I've done videos on this, it is defined as, in a couple of words, if I have to summarize what is Ardra, restore to factory settings. You see on your mobile phone, there is an option called restore to factory settings.
Yeah, reset buttons, yeah.
Yeah, which means it is going to take you back to where you were, the caveman times. You are resetting your body to the factory settings of God. What are the factory settings of God? You were born in the wilderness. You were born in the wild. You are not governed by any human-made laws. You believe in the laws of nature. That is the restore to factory settings. That's why you see that many of these Ardra natives, because it falls in Gemini, because it is ruled by Rahu, the master of camouflage, master of Maya, illusions, they have high frequency, repetitive communications that they get into. They have a reptilian brain, with reptilian brain is very, very active in them. And that's why you see Ardra natives are very, very instinctive, intuitive, perceptive, with extraterrestrial influences. Extremely intuitive, extremely perceptive, extremely sensitive. I'm overemphasizing all of these words: perceptive, intuitive, sensitive, extraterrestrial. They have great connections with the cosmos.
Do you think these are the people that can experience like extraterrestrial, what do you call
Absolutely. That? Because I'll tell you, because of the reptilian brain being very active, there's a point in the brain which is called the reptilian brain. It's called the R complex. In Ardra natives, this is absolutely magnified. Rahu magnifies the sensitivity and heightens the perception, which means these people have great extrasensory perception, sixth sense, exceptionally high.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what you see is, I have seen they have an obsession because of Shiva taking the bow and shooting. I have seen this theme when maybe people can say, when you're younger and if you have a moon there or any other planet there, you have an obsession for sharp objects, like carrying a pocket knife, carrying a Swiss knife with you. Obsession with knives, sharp objects.
Wow.
Okay.
Man, so doing a horoscope matching for Ardra would be like, man, your marriage is going to be wild. Imagine two Ardra getting together.
Oh my God. And if you have planets in Mula and Ardra, then it's going to be a very inconvenient. See, why they do is they challenge the boundaries of conventionality, orthodoxy. They go against orthodoxy. If you say do not eat chicken, you would find an Ardra native, you might find that there is a pure Brahmin, Indian, Tamil family You would find the son who was an Ardra, he will go and eat chicken. He will go
Yeah.
and eat.
Rebel
But
nature.
rebel nature. They will say, in our family, for 7 generations, we have had nobody who has eaten meat. And
Yeah.
this boy is eating meat in our family. He's an outcast. Anything which has to test him, you do not challenge a Ardra native. If you tell him, I challenge you to eat, live scorpions, he will eat live scorpions. So crazy.
Wow.
Just to prove a point,
Yeah.
he will eat live scorpions. While there are people, you see, there are shows which make you eat those live scorpions and all of these,
Right.
these adventure things. This is Ardra. This is Ardra. Keeping snakes as pets, again Ardra. Playing with, say reptiles. Like, I've seen people who want to keep these exotic lizards at home, exotic snakes at home. Ardra.
But then is Ardra prone to being bitten by reptiles, or are they not?
It's the other way around, because they are lords of the animals.
Okay.
You find that they would feel comfortable and the animals feel comfortable, because see, I told you, they have these animalistic instincts within them. They connect very quickly with the animals in nature. They will be so comfortable with a snake around than a human being. A human being is an external entity for them. They would be suspicious of a human being and his intentions. But a snake or a reptile or a lizard or a pet, they feel absolutely comfortable. Now, I have to bring this element to you people, saying that it is not only about these unconventional things. This is the most spiritually fertile domain of the zodiac. No wonder it is connected to Rudra and Shiva. Shankar Acharya, a great ascetic and saint of India, is said to be an incarnation of Rudra, and he's supposed to have his moon and born in Ardra. The next great Indian philosopher, Ramanujacharya, who corrected and built upon the foundations laid by Shankara, which is, by God, Lord Shiva himself, he was born with the moon in Ardra. So I'm not trying to say that these are only unconventional. They can become revolutionaries. They can bring huge transformation. Shankaracharya was a transformation. Shankaracharya. Without him, India today would have been a Buddhist, religion, entire. Because Buddhism is
Wow.
so widely famous, you'd find that India would have been a Buddhist nation.
Wow.
But it was Shankaracharya who came and he established, again brought Advaita philosophies of Sanatana Dharma. He established. That's why you see a lot of Hinduism still exists. Because see, I have to tell you, Buddhism is very, very simple to follow. Buddha made things very easy. Hinduism, some of the rituals were very complicated for the common man.
Mm-hmm.
Buddha made it very simple. He simplified the thing and it was more acceptable. And under Ashoka, it grew like wildfire. It was believed from the Middle East, going up to Indonesia and Japan, Thailand, Malaysia, Buddhism grew. It was so vast, the Buddhist, teachings, because it was very easy to adopt.
Right. Absolutely.
But it was a Shankaracharya who had to come to re-establish the roots.
Wow.
So this is what I wanted to tell, is because the root word ardent is also, it is Ardra.
Wait, ardent?
Ardent, yeah.
What is that?
It comes, ardent, the word ardent means, it comes from the root word Arudra. Ardent means, somebody who's very, you say, I'm an ardent fan of this person, which means you're
adherent fan of this person. Okay.
How do you pronounce it?
Adherent.
Adherent, okay. I thought it was ardent. Anyway, so what I've seen is these people also have a unique hairdo. With the you see the rastas, people who have plaited hair,
Yeah.
right? People like you see the Caribbeans,
Yeah.
that is Ardra. Anybody who's an Ardra would have a very peculiar hairstyle. The hairdo is something very, very unique, which was a giveaway because it is like Rudra. Rudra's hair is always tied in knots, and there. So hair is something which I've seen over and over again, that there would be something which is very different for these
Oh.
alternatives.
And what kind of careers do you think would be attached to Ardra?
Ardra people would be interested in, like you said, meteorology. They would be interested in to do with druggists. They would be interested in doing, activities which. See, again, Ardra, what I've seen is these people have unique hobbies and talents, like keeping pets, selling exotic pets.
Yeah.
Mind you, this one, what do you say? Uh, Morticians
Morticians, okay.
can be associated with Ardra. And also I've seen people, what do you call, wildlife photographers, people who go
Okay.
photography. This is Rahu, right?
Yeah.
And it's wild. So wildlife photography is something that would be interested in. Then archaeologists, trying to go and find out. So they want to explore, they want to do something which is unconventional, and they also like to have hair in dreadlocks.
Dreadlocks, yeah.
Affinity to serpent skin, like leather belts and leather bags, and anything to do with serpent skin.
Now, when you said, I remember you were talking about some celebrity having Jupiter in Ardra. Was it that girl from Twilight?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I'm looking at a chart and I run into Jupiter in Ardra, my brain is automatically thinking about something with a guru or something with the house that Jupiter rules will have trains of Ardra. But then here, Kristen Stewart, like you were mentioning, has this exotic ML which has to do with her. So that means, so the only reason why we can say that is probably because she has a ascendant as Sagittarius or Pisces, or
possibly
the sixth house.
Yeah, because I think if I said it was a sixth lord is Venus, isn't it? So then her ascendant has to be Sagittarius, which
Sagittarius, okay.
So the lord of the Lagna.
Now it makes sense. So even if it's Saturn or Mars, if it's the ascendant, it's the person. But if it's not, then it could be a brother, or it could be the fourth lord mother who likes to keep exotic pets or something.
Absolutely. That is the great secret that you want to understand. Is definitely the Karakatva of the planet. Like if it is Mars, it could be your brothers. Like I said, you might be having tattoos, right?
Yeah.
Then if you say that, oh, I don't have tattoos, then ask, do your brother or your sibling has tattoos? And then you look which house it is sitting in, what from the third house, then you say, does he have tattoos in the back? If that part of the body, which signifies where Mars is sitting, it's the back, then from the third house, because third house is sibling, right? From the third house, where is Ardra following? That is the body part of the younger sibling.
Mars is back, or I thought Sun represented the back.
No, I'm not talking about Mars is back. I said, suppose, like I said, Mars and Ardra, I said they might be having tattoos, right?
Yeah.
Now, if the native says, no, I do not have any tattoos, but then I can probably ask him, does one of your siblings have tattoos?
Okay.
Because Mars is siblings, right?
Yeah.
Right. Now, if I have to know which body part of that sibling might have these tattoos, then what I would do is I would do reverse engineering. I would go to the third house of that native, and I will see which house this Mars is sitting in Ardra.
Oh, so you'll make the third house the ascendant.
Ascendant, exactly.
I see. Okay. Okay.
So which means that is the body part of the younger sibling where he might have had tattoos, possibly.
Okay.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. And tattoo, does it have to be a Radha or it could be other nakshatra of Rahu, like Sast Bishak or
Satabisha can be, yeah.
can be?
Satabisha can be, definitely. I've seen, see, amongst the Rahu nakshatras, Swati is the more, softer. It's a Chara nakshatra. But you see, Ardra is a Tikshna nakshatra. Tikshna means fierce, sharp.
Mm-hmm.
Tikshna or Daruna. Daruna. These are the two Sanskrit words which is commonly used to refer to Ardra. So obviously, you see that Ardra is about sharp objects trying to inflict pain on themselves. People wanting to. I've seen some crazy young people in India who you say, "I'm going to cut my wrist and write the name of my lover."
Yeah.
Like this,
Yeah.
it's crazy. You take a sharp object and then say, I'm going to I'm going
Yeah.
to engrave the name of my lover, on my skin. Let there be
Oh yeah.
blood. I'll write in my blood. I'm crazy. That is Ardra. They're mysterious. They're intense. They have deep struggle. There is sadness. There's suppressed sadness. There's suppressed anger. There's suppressed. This is when it is suppressed anger, when there is the suppressed frustration.
Yeah.
That comes as an outburst which can make you a killer.
Like a mass shooting.
Mass shooting,
Take
yeah.
their anger onto everybody
Yes.
else.
And that's why you see, Shiva used to be a loner. He used to live in solitude with his
Yeah.
ganas. He goes to the crematorium. He smears his body with ash.
Yeah.
He plays around with serpents as a young Rudra. Okay,
Yeah.
his best friends are the goblins, the ghosts, the spirits are his best friends.
Wow.
That is Shiva.
Man.
That's Rudra. So what you find with these people is these people live in solitude. You see, most of the people who go on mass killing,
Yeah.
they are like, they have been living on their own for many months. They have been plotting, but they don't, nobody can find them out because it's very difficult. Probably you can unearth a terrorist, but it's very difficult to find these Ardra on the negative, the lower level Ardra. The higher level Ardra are extremely spiritually enlightened. I said intuition, perception. They could be excellent Jyotishis, for example, because they don't even need to look at a chart. They'll say, you sit here, tell me a number. Okay, there you are. I'll tell you what it is. That is Ardra magic.
Yeah.
Miraculous things that they can do because Rahu.
It's so funny you said something about the mortician thing. And now it just creeped in my head. Like back in 2011, I dated a girl for maybe, I think, a week. She was a mortician. She used to clean dead body. She didn't tell me that for the first 4 days we were talking on the phone. Then she tells me and I'm like, all right, man, whatever. I guess people got to make money somehow. Then it also turns out that she was trying to get into UFC.
Wow.
Ultimate Fighting Championship. She was getting to USC. That's when I first met her. We went to, guess what my first date was with her?
What was it?
Yoga. Taught yoga as a first date and then movies. And oh my gosh, she was so eccentric in the movie theater. She was yelling because the acting was so bad and the movie was so bad. She started yelling. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm just here sitting. I'm sitting next to her and I'm just like, I'm like, what am I doing with this person? And then I also find out she also has a pet snake at home.
Wow.
She was with her mom and they had a pet snake.
I bet she has.
Obviously, when I decided to look into her chart back then, obviously she has. Yeah.
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
At that time, but I'll be honest with you, at that time, I didn't put two and two together. All I put was Ardra. And I'm like, okay. All right, that's cool. I'm like, listen, I've got something come up. I'll be out for 2 weeks. And then I just see ya. I mean, it was this very eccentric person, like somebody I don't even know how I came across this person. It was just out of the fluke, but yeah.
This is absolutely fascinating, Kapil. And this is what I want to tell about Ardra. Although they might be eccentric, they might be different, they might be, like an outcast. But I want to say to all you viewers, they could also be diamonds. Because that is another jewel which is associated with Ardra Nakshatra. The symbol is a diamond. Now, if you understand what a diamond is, you will know what is the life cycle of an Ardra. Is when you discover diamond, it is just a rock. You wouldn't even call it a diamond. It's just a rock. Unattractive, dark, nothing. Yeah. Then you start polishing it. You start rubbing it. Rub, polish. When you're getting chipped off, it is painful. But what comes out is a sparkling diamond. There is a diamond in every Ardra native. The process that they're going through is this chipping and chiseling and polishing and rubbing, which is happening constantly in their life, because God wants to bring out the precious jewel in them. God is putting you to trials, putting you through these difficulties, this eccentricity, all of these sorrows. This thing is, they want to bring the diamond within you. So people who can find this, they become absolutely sparkling diamonds, pure, crystal clear. But the process is, the rubbing has to happen, the polishing has to happen, the pain has to happen. It is as though to say, this nakshatra is another nakshatra I've seen. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. It is your decision. If you want to suffer, you'll suffer.
Yeah.
Pain is inevitable for this nakshatra, because you are being polished for a greater, the greater thing is God is polishing you to bring out the diamond within you.
Now, what would be one of the ways to look at an Ardra person and see if they possess the positive quality or the negative quality? What would some things have to take place for you to see, okay, well, this person's really going to go into the darker side? Then,
okay. What I've seen is Ardras have, they are a beautiful mindset. I'll tell you that deep inside, they are, they are the most protective. They are the most helpful people. But they have the most destructive impulses for somebody who cheats on them. Because I'll tell you what, the wiring, if you understand the wiring. Now, when I was teaching, there was this, in my classes that I do, I have a student from Canada. I believe she's from Vancouver. She has no knowledge about Jyotish. She just, she emailed me, she wanted to learn. I said, but you don't know anything about Jyotish? Zero. I said, okay, you can come for a test class and see if you like it. I was teaching about Ardra Nakshatra. And then at the question and answer session, she comes and says, Arjun, you have actually, opened my eyes. Because I have a colleague, a peer in my group, which have never understood for so many years, because he came across as somebody who's rigid, who was stubborn, who was, kind of a very difficult individual to understand. And then she says, this was the lesson after I did with Ardra. And she comes and says to me that I met him, after this lesson. And I was telling him that I went to a class on Jyotish, and and then even without her telling him, he said, I am an Ardra moon. And she was like, goodness me, I was trying to map him with Ardra, because seeing his characteristics, he looked very much like Ardra. And there he comes and says, I am an Ardra moon. And she says, now, Arjun, I do not judge him because now I know what is the internal wiring. So this is the most important lesson, Kapil, I want to tell you is if you know nakshatras, if you know the characteristics, you do not know what their journey is all about. So please do not judge people on the basis of their actions, their deeds that they do, because you do not know what they're going through. What is the characteristics?
Yeah.
So what I've seen with these people is one is their, when they have to go in the negatives side, the lower levels of Ardra, you find themes of irritability, ungratefulness, insincerity, disappointment. They roar, they howl, they feel there is deception. Either they deceive or they feel they are deceived. Treachery. They could be very diplomatic when they speak. They could be very critical, sometimes overwhelming.
Yeah.
They double talk because they talk something in front of you and they go behind your back and say something else. And then this is the constant theme I've seen. People say, oh my God, this guy is backstabbing me. This guy is, abandoning me. This is why, is because some lifetime, this soul has been abandoned. And that is why they are coming back with an Ardra to master those energies. If you're again getting beaten up, if you're again going through those same impulses and not elevating your soul, that means you are going again in the negative spiral of Ardra and you are not mastering the energies of Ardra, which God has given you another chance to come and master. Being dishonorable, being rogues, being cruel, being liars, stop all of this. For an Ardra, the best thing is being assertive, being strong-willed, being sincere in work, being ambitious, being, having a high self-esteem, because these people have low self-esteem.
Yeah.
Taking the sensitivity problem, with good care. Good psychological insights, not negativity. Keeping a cool mindset, being versatile, being emphatic. Do not be hypersensitive. You see a lot of isolation, but isolation should be used independently to do productive things. Reduce the destructive impulses in you.
Yeah.
Go for recreation, which will give you the kick, the energy, the adrenaline flowing. Going bungee jumping is again something which is going to drive the energy. That is the negative energy is going to be, dissipated.
Wow.
So these are the sort of things that I've seen where they, being, loosen up a little bit. You would be stubborn. You would be controlling, violent temperament, strong, unstable, sympathetic nature, which is constantly coming out of these people. Controlling this is the trap and the lesson for Ardra. If you go in the negative spiral, Ardra can destroy you, devastate you. Go in a positive way, man. This nakshatra, there can be a greater nakshatra than this.
Yeah.
You are lucky to be born with a Ardra. I don't call it an unlucky star. I call it you're lucky because God has given you another chance to master these energies in your life.
Yeah.
Think of it that way rather than think of all the negativities which we have talked about.
Wow.
I see this as an opportunity. I don't see this as a challenge.
Absolutely. Woo! Man.
So I think, Kapil, all over to you. Any questions, anything? I know I could go on with this nakshatra and I know I've not taken any charts.
Yeah, you can. You'll go on till like 6 a.m. for me. I know that for sure.
I know it's very late out there.
That's great. I mean, you kind of cleared up a lot of illusions and kind of confirmed certain things. So just brilliant as always. So thank you so much for coming.
And Kapil, I know this is going to be, but I want everybody to look at 64th Navamsha very closely. It's going to give you the nakshatra, which is the 64th Navamsha.
Yeah. What is this?
It can give you great.
This is the book that actually talks about the 64th Navamsha by C.S. Patel, Navamsha in Nadi Astrology. So when I was reading this is where he goes into the calculations of like he does all kinds of mathematical calculations for. It's like the mathematics is beyond me, but I get what he was like. He was talking about Indira Gandhi. C.S. Patel saw exactly how the day Indira Gandhi will leave.
Oh, okay.
How she will go through 64th Navamsha. So, and I just stopped reading for some reason. Something else came up, but yeah, I'm gonna start looking into that.
Okay. And before we just wrap up this session, there are some interesting points. Couple very quickly I'll mention, because this came to me from a very very senior astrologer who gave me the secrets of Ardra Nakshatra, which is her observations for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll quickly wrap this up. Just give me 2 minutes, and this is fascinating. Sure. She says women with Ardra would have manly qualities in them, including some of the women might have a little bit of facial hair.
Hello, the girl I was talking about, she was a UFC fighter wanting to go train for UFC. She was being a, mortician, doing like hot yoga, and had like a very toned muscular body. So, I mean, I just saw this very strong quality, like this male energy coming through her. I'm like, whoa, she's intimidating. I'm like, okay. So I get it. I absolutely get that.
Okay. Then she says they love animals, especially dogs, and very egoistic people. She says if the moon is good, again, depends on what cycle, what tithi of the moon. If it is waxing, waning, that will also define how moon will behave in Ardra. Okay, so good moon can make you especially very, very spiritual seeking. You would go on a path of spiritual seeking. She says she has found actors, spiritual guides, and philosophers in this nakshatra. Another thing she says, they have extremely good sense of smell. Ardra is high sensitivity of the smell, she says. Then she says these people are fond of imitating others. Just I don't know. These were her observations. I'm just sharing. Imitating as in, mimicry.
Yeah, I thought that would be more of like the Mercurian.
Yeah, because of, it's a third house. It is Gemini.
Yeah.
Right? And it seems that these people have a tendency to see the glass half empty. Rather than seeing the glass half full, they'll always see the empty part of the glass. So if you keep a glass which is half full, a positive person will always see, the opportunistic person will see the glass is half full.
Yeah.
But an Ardra native will always see the glass half empty.
Mm-hmm.
There's a great secret here. You have to start looking at the not the emptiness. You have to start looking at what is filling you up, not what is empty. You do not crib about what things you do not have. This is a great learning, because they crib, they cry, they wail what they do not have.
Is there also issues with like elder siblings, you think?
Potentially, because I said, it is Bharani Nakshatra. It is Yama. Yama had a problem with his sibling, which is Shani.
Yeah. Not even because of that, because I noticed that from Aries, Rahu rules the 11th house. Because when it rules the Gemini, the third sign, Aquarius rules the 11th from the Aries, which means the 9th itself. And then, and then also, they could also have definitely problems with the father too.
Oh yeah, this is definitely true, because you see, in one of the mythological stories, he said, he was born of Brahma's forehead, which is his father, and he goes and he severs the head of his father.
Yeah.
So these people would have a disagreement with their father on certain things. They will strongly disagree and they will oppose their father. It is not only father. I am saying they'll oppose authority, which is even the sun. They will oppose the sun, which is basically government. They'll go against government. People who are peace activists, people who are animal activists, people who say, what is this called? PETA, protection of animals, like what's her name? Pamela Anderson. She is affiliated with PETA. Okay, that's a great organization, which is like protection of animals.
Yeah,
They
PETA.
don't eat
Yeah.
meat, you know. So these are the certain things that you would find with Ardra. But if it is malefics which is influencing Ardra, then they would eat exotic meat.
Wow.
Only.
Wow. That's crazy. And hunting too. I'm sure they're into hunting as well.
Yes, definitely. 110% hunting. And that is in a literal sense or a figurative sense is
Yeah.
they might go after stalking. Stalking is something I've seen with Margashira and Ardra. They might stalk you. Ardras will stalk you, man. They go hunting for their prey. Once they like the prey, they would go constantly after them.
Oh my God.
They want to hunt you down. And what she says, this astrologist, she says, they kind of make a very, very weird noise with their mouth all the time. Whether they're talking or not, some noise, which might be, I don't know why she said that, but she has seen this over and over again. She's seen it.
Oh, you know why?
Why?
If you look at a snake always
like the hissing. Yeah.
Take your tongue out. You see how I'm making that sound?
Yes.
So they always just want to say something very quick and fast, and
it's like blubbering. They're blubbering something. When they're speaking.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Perfect sense.
Yeah. Wow. Man, thank you so much for coming. And we will be doing hopefully in like a week or 2 or 3 weeks, we'll do the pie map thing.
Oh, definitely. We'll do that.
We'll have you explain it to everyone.
I think it's, Kapiel, it's still in a very nascent stage of that.
I don't think so, man. I don't think so. What you showed me that there was just like, shit, this is ready to be written off, signed off, and approved. Gone.
I think there's a lot of research we still need to do and before, but I know that the system is going to work.
Yeah.
That's my feeling. Okay. Whether it works or it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. But I know that works.
Yeah.
And if you have faith in something, you have faith in yourself, you can give any theory, man. You can make it prove. Yeah. And this is the beauty of astrology. This is the beauty of astrology.
Somehow, some way, it just
somewhere it will work. Yeah. I know this is the only science which I've seen. Anybody, you can create a sutra from anywhere, and you believe in that sutra, it will work.
Yes. So
try it out.
Yeah.
Try it out again and again. I can tell you, Kapiel. You have to.
I'm telling you, this is such a super science. It can never be a science. It's beyond science. This is like it'll drive you mad before it makes you a scientist. That's
scientist, exactly. Because people can prove you wrong, but if you have the faith, it is going to work. That technique will work.
Yeah.
It may not work for hundreds of people.
Yeah.
It might work only for you. It will work like brilliantly. Now, for example, I know it's very, very late, but I'll make this last statement. B.V. Raman Ayanamsha. Nobody has able to understand, but B.V. Raman used to give stunning predictions with, B.V. Raman Ayanamsha. His daughter, Gayatri Devi, she says, he never used any other Ayanamsha. He used only B.V. Raman's Ayanamsha. It is completely going to take your nakshatras away. It's going to huge shift.
Oh yeah, huge shift. I already saw that. Yeah, absolutely.
So he knew how to use it. He knew what to look at. So if you really say that there are thousands of astrologers, how can Ernst William predict with the tropical system?
Yeah.
How can Kapiel Raaj give exact predictions with the Lahari systems or whatever?
Yeah.
So many people using different systems arriving at the same observation. I cannot see any other science that you can give the same predictions with different systems. That is only Jyotish. And I really go down in front of this greater, higher knowledge. If you believe in yourself, throw out this discussion or debate of which Ayanamsha is better, which Ayanamsha.
It's going to drive you crazy. Who's right, who's wrong. It's
any Ayanamsha will work for you if you have faith in the system and you know how to interpret, believe in it, it will work for you.
Exactly.
Even you create your own Ayamsha, it will work for you.
It'll
That
work
is,
for you. Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
don't debate about what Ayamsha is good, who is right, who's wrong. As long as people know how to use it and they believe,
Yeah.
it will work for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Well, thank you so much, man, for coming and giving this knowledge. It's really, really amazing. So, we're gonna work on the other thing and
Definitely.
keep bringing it out. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye bye.